You know what's really tiresome? Seeing video games being blamed by boomers for the mass shootings that happen around the world. I'm tired of talking about that because we've been through this many times. What did Hard Times say again? Video game violence gets an HD remaster? It did a year ago too, actually, and it got another remaster again. But at least we didn't see Trump or his White House team having a meaning for it, or just seemingly uploading a video compilation of violence in video games just to put the blame on it like last year. Yet, everyone has been talking about this topic and it's perfectly understandable, but when I watched my last video on it, I began by saying this. I've told people that I'm tired of talking about this, but since everyone is talking about it, especially when the executives at the White House were talking about it, I got tired of it last year, and I certainly got tired of it today. That, and I'm super busy with my papers, and there's a massive power outage for the past couple of days, and I have to actually go to my campus to get decent internet. So if you want to know my thoughts on violent video games being blamed for mass shootings, see this video, because everything that I said on that video is pretty much what I would have said today. It just keeps on repeating itself like me on my weekly streams or my videos in general. For now, let's move on to something less impactful like PC games going Epic exclusive, and somehow I've grown more apathetic on this. But before we get to the Epic Store hoopla, YouTube is going to demonetize this video because it has nasty words in it. So thank you all for sponsoring this video. You can do so by checking the links down below. Also, huge thanks for Jackson on the pledge on Patreon and Chick Mission for the pledge on Subscribestar. You guys are fantastic. Epic Game Store is something that I talk about quite a few times on this channel. I talk about it when Metro Exodus got the exclusive. I talk about when The Outer Worlds got exclusive. There are a couple of games that went exclusive that I didn't talk about. Tetris Effect also went exclusive. I think I briefly talked about Phoenix Point when it got exclusive. And of course, Shenmue 3, which is the most egregious exclusivity news of them all. A backstab towards all the people who crowdfunded the game, and that entire hoopla is way too much for this video, so I'll just link Yongya's video talking about this. The Epic Game Store launcher is just straight up garbage. It's a game launcher software that doesn't run very well, even on my 4-core 8-threads Core i7 system. Second of all, the payment system for the store is absolute trash. Since I don't have a credit card, I have to go to a nearby mini market to pay for this game, which is downright ridiculous when I can just pay for Steam games with mobile banking at the comfort of my own house. And third, and many other reasons, see this complete feature list, or more accurately, incomplete feature list. There's always a backlash for certain video games to get the Epic exclusivity treatment, except if your game's made by David Cage, which in that case not a lot of people really care. But is there a hoopla that can rival the backlash and the resentment that people gave to Shenmue 3? Actually, yes. Enter Ooblets, a video game that looks to be a mixture of Pokemon and Harvest Moon. I almost typed Sailor Moon in there, but trust me when I say that things wouldn't get better if I do that. But anyway, this is a video game made by a team of husband and wife that receive a lot of crowdfunding money. So why is this little cutesy video game made by the team of husband and wife got a lot of backlash? Well, as we demonstrated previously, it's because they went Epic exclusive. You see, Tim Sweeney is the Epic Phantom Thief, and they're stealing all the indie games from the dastardly Steam Palace guarded by the evil Mr. Gabe Newell. When video games received the news that they're going Epic exclusive, I used to be really angry about that, but now I just feel apathy. I didn't report on this when Tetris Effect was gonna be one, but I was really mad when Shenmue 3 did it because they just straight up backstabbed the backers who crowdfunded the game. This is pretty much a similar scenario. Backers who crowdfunded the game expected it to be released on Steam, but the developers want even more cash from their sales, so they struck a deal with Epic Games because, hey, Epic really cares for game developers, but not when they're making Fortnite content. Oh no, we have to abuse them in that case. But as I was saying, I've grown to be very apathetic on it, and that's mostly because, well, I have a couple of reasons actually. One, there are many other game developers out there who don't develop games for the Epic Game Store, including new games that are arguably better in terms of quality. Two, older games still exist. If I have $1 for every game that I bought but I haven't finished, I would have had enough money to buy a new PC. And don't get me started on games that I have never played, which is quite a lot. And finally, Epic will never change their business model. They're always gonna be hunting for exclusives, especially when Valve's entire response is just sleeping on their butts. At this moment, I just don't care. Game developers can go Epic exclusive all they want. Tim Sweeney can just steal games from Steam all he wants. I'll be sitting here watching JoJo or suplexing dragons in old PS1 games or teaching high school students on how to bash people with giant axes. And wow, isn't that amazing? A PC store managed to make a good argument to buy games on a console. Finally, my PS4 has actual use instead of just gathering dust in the back. With Epic's garbage store in general, they have a really bad time in making good PR for the consumers. That's because Epic doesn't like their consumers. They say that it's the developers who will win the game store war and not the consumers. Maybe back in the mid-2000s when the alternatives to Steam aren't that great, but we do have alternatives right now. And even if I agree that developers will decide who wins the game store, I got most of my high-quality Japanese games on Steam. What about you, Epic Game Store? Are you going to not have these games because they're porn to you or something? I thought you're pro game devs. And you know who else is making bad PR for the consumers? Pretty much any game developer who decided that being Epic exclusive is the best thing to do for their games. Going back to the Ublets game devs, the moment they announced that their game is going to be Epic exclusive, people are furious. They messaged the game developers in their Discord telling them that it's a bad idea. The game developers got nasty messages and they documented some of them in a Medium post. Epic themselves had to make a public statement saying that, hey, this is not okay, guys. Some even went on so far as to fake a Discord post of the game developers saying that gamers should be gas. Don't do that, guys. The game developers are already anti-consumer on their own. You're putting them in a moral high ground that they don't deserve. This is the story of game developers who were warned many times that bees sting, and hitting a beehive will unleash all the bees and cause them to sting you. But they did not listen to the chants of those who suffered through the stings and went on to hit the beehive anyway. That's what happens to any game developer in current year who decided to go Epic exclusive. They know very well that gamers can be toxic and are prone to outrage. So why are you doing the thing that has been documented many times in the past to invite nothing but outrage and negativity? Unfortunately, I'm on a state where I am unable to sympathize with these two indie game developers. And why would I be sympathetic? These are two indie game developers who not only got a huge amount of crowdfunding money, but a direct support from a multi-billion-dollar gaming corporation, including an approval from Tim Sweeney himself. Frankly, they have about as much sympathy from me as YouTube pranksters, but at least YouTube pranksters don't charge you for watching their garbage. So why are people mad about the Ublets game devs? Maybe because they call gamers toxic and being really passive-aggressive when dealing with critiques. This is a tweet from them saying that they did a thing, people got angry, and they tell people, hey, stop being angry about it, by showing an animation of an in-game character flossing. You don't tell people to stop being angry by flossing at them. That's like feeling sorry towards poor people by dabbing at them. I don't think that's how it works, Ublets game developers. How it works is that you're not supposed to make consumers angry, but then you did something that has historically been proven to make consumers angry. And not only you did that, but you floss over them as if to say, yeah, screw you, we're doing this anyway. But we're not done. I talk about their blog post briefly on my stream, but I want to talk about it again, just to give you guys context in how really nice these game developers are. I want to ask you one interesting question. Why would they reference Marx of all people in this entire paragraph? Why would these game developers make jokes about capitalist dystopia? I'll let you guys who are more politically inclined to speculate in why, but one thing I do know for sure is that these game developers are perfectly aware that the Epic Game Store exclusivity are making gamers mad, to the point of even trademarking gamers just to mock them. These people absolutely know for sure that they're inciting outrage by this post, and they went on to cry fake tears when people got mad over it. The developers are perfectly aware of the issues that Epic Store has, but they chose to dismiss it. If you tell them that Epic Store doesn't have as many features as Steam or any other stores, they say, I didn't have that much issue with it, and that's just how the softwares are developed. Congratulations, Ublets game developers, you just straight up excuse Epic Games for being Steam on its early age, which isn't great. It's also really disappointing to see people threatening to pirate games just because they can't get it on the launcher that they're used to, aka a launcher that is good. You kind of dismissed that part early on. Cue the gamer entitlement narrative and those evil, toxic gamers, and you wonder why people are sharing nasty messages to you on the internet. You wonder why people are telling you that they're going to pirate your games. But don't worry, guys, these developers are very good at losing your sympathy. As I highlighted on my stream, this is straight up a quote from the game developers. If you're going to be mad at something, be mad at something more relevant, like climate change or human rights abuses or Twitter's new desktop UI or the last season of Game of Thrones. You know what? You are right. In fact, I think we shouldn't concern ourselves with this game at all. We should just point and laugh and tell people, hey, if you want to be a game developer, never ever do this ever. Tell people that they should go screw themselves and then cry about it on social media because people are being meanies on them. Actually, can we go on that Medium post for a bit? The developers actually went on to say that he naively thought that this is going to end very well for them. They tried to interact with people who bashed their game for taking that exclusivity deal, but obviously it didn't work, and people keep on staying toxic. You're well aware that taking the epic exclusivity deal will make gamers mad. You're well aware that gamers can be absolutely toxic on the internet and will spew all of that nonsense that you showed in the blog posts, and yet you did it anyway. My question to you is, how are people going to feel sympathy over this? I cannot feel sympathy over this. All the warnings are given to you, but you hit the beehive anyway, and then you cry when the bees are stinging you. At this moment, sympathy is the last thing that you got from me. What you got from me is mockery and disdain. Your previous actions absolutely warrants you to be the subject of mockery for a lot of gamers. But of course, I'm supposed to feel bad for the game developers who receive thousands of dollars on crowdfunding money and backings from a multi-billion-dollar corporation. But maybe you are right, game developers. We shouldn't be angry about this. There are millions and millions of things that we should be more concerned about in this day and age. So thank you, game developers, for telling us that we shouldn't care about your game and that we should care more about other games that provide better content. Or better yet, let's make fun of the boomers for blaming video games again, shall we?